Hey guys, welcome back to another session here in the Lumix Lounge. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada for WPPI 2015. I'm on stage here with my good friend, Mr. William Innes. How you doing, William?
How you doing, Frederick?
All right. You're always dressed so spiffy. Every time I talk to you, look at that.
I know.
Got the bracelet on, the jacket, see?
It works well when you go shopping with your 33-year-old son.
Here you go.
Yeah,
awesome. All right, so wedding photography. It's always our topic. We're at WPPI,
yes.
So you're here. This is your people, right?
This is my
your
element.
tribe.
It is.
Your tribe. You're
Yes.
amongst all your friends here, right?
A lot of friends.
So we're going to talk about marketing, social media, business, all that stuff, and I know I'm going to extract some good tips out of you. But before we do that, I want to get your feel for. You've been to WPPI several times, right?
I think this is my 9th year.
9th year.
Yes.
How do you feel about it this year? What's the vibe? Is it upbeat? Kind of dull? What do you feel?
I think it's a good vibe. I think we're coming off a couple of, like last year was too, but
Yeah.
previous to that there was a couple of years where there was a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
People were struggling, so I think we're definitely on an ups.
Yeah, and a lot of new faces coming in.
Always a lot of new faces at WPPI. I think that's one of the draws of this show.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of new people that have maybe only been shooting a year or two and they come to this show.
Yeah. I mean, that keeps the industry fresh, right?
It does, because a lot of people don't know about a lot of the products here, and when they come, they're totally amazed at that there's so many album companies or choices with cameras or a lot of software out there and things like that.
It's overwhelming in some ways, right?
That's the problem when you get home. Sometimes you dump out that goodie bag with all the information,
And you're like, yeah. I learned to stop picking it up.
I travel light.
I take pictures of brochures with my camera.
That's all I want. That's it.
And I make a folder and I go through it later.
Yeah, that's right. Evernote. Go back and check it out.
Evernote, the end of paper. All right, so I want to, before we start talking about marketing and all that, I want to get your thoughts on, obviously we're here in the Panasonic booth, the Lumix Lounge booth, Panasonic cameras. You shoot with Panasonic cameras. But I want to take it in a slightly different direction in terms of the rapid release of new technology, like we were just talking about, whether it be software, hardware, cloud-based services, all these different options for photographers. I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to know that in the olden days, we'd hold on to our cameras for a long time, right? And you get intimate with it, you know everything about it. That dynamic is not really here anymore, right? Because these things evolve so quickly and you're on to the next one. How do you manage that flow?
That's an awesome question, especially the age thing, because if I went back 10 years ago, I was excited when new stuff came out. It's like, oh, a new version of Photoshop.
Yes.
And now I'm like, could you just give me a year? Because, you just get to learn it, and they move a couple of the tools around just to play with you.
Yeah.
And I think it is an age thing a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep up on technology and a lot of the new things, but you may want to, skip a generation. Otherwise, I think that it's just too much coming at you. As soon as you learn one thing, you got to move on. But at the same time, that's one of the things I love about this business, the photography business, is you can never stop learning.
Right.
There's always something new, and to me, that's what excites me and sort of helps keep my passion.
And that's one of the differences between now and back in the day when we had our one camera forever. The learning resources that are available now, we're not even there then. I mean, there was no lynda.com, there was no Kelby training, none of that stuff was there. And we still learned how to shoot, but the hard way.
The hard way.
And the expensive way.
School of hard knocks.
Yeah,
I tell
film,
people
36 exposures at a time, right?
Yeah, well, we used to get excited when a new film came out.
Yeah,
That was a big deal.
Yep. Hey, Ilford came out with so-and-so. Wow,
I tell people today there's no excuse not to learn, just because of all the sites that you just referenced.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. You can literally be anywhere and learn these days.
Yeah, I love it. On your phone.
It's awesome. It is.
So let's transition into business.
All right.
And people look to you for that stuff, and the interviews that we've done, people love them, because it's business, all these great tips, how to do all this stuff. So let's dive into that. So when you look at these businesses, presumably WPPI is full of small business owners, right? There's people that are making money or want to make money with their photography. When you're talking to someone new that's coming in, one of those new people, making the assumption that they have the chops as a photographer to be saleable, right? They're not just, hey, I bought a camera, now I'm going to go hang out my shingle. They're a real photographer. Now they want to make money from it. They haven't set up any social presences. They haven't built their blog, nothing. They're just a good photographer. They want to start getting paid for shooting weddings and portraits. What's their first step?
My first step, I would tell them, is to build relationships. So it's sort of the anti-digital evolution we were just talking about. And I feel the whole transfer of technology and digital these days has sort of like led people away from like getting out and meeting people face to face. So I think the biggest step you can take is to build relationships with vendors within your industry, whatever you're shooting. I happen to be a wedding shooter, so I would go build relationships with florists, dress shops, jewelry stores, DJs, any vendor to be involved in a wedding. Your circle. Right. And there's a photographer here called Levi Sim. You know Levi. And him and I just had a post on the Pro Show web page. And it was on business. There were a couple of quotes, and his was the best. Because he talks about moving from a new city to a different city and starting from zero. And all he suggested was to go out and join organizations and help people, and the business will come. And it does. So he's doing it through relationships as well.
That's cool. So a good segue of that is we're in a the world is much smaller than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? Which means, and the opportunities for advertising and reaching clients, if you're a destination photographer, the globe is your market now, right? But that's a double-edged sword, because if the globe is not your market and you live in a particular zip code, you can do that, what you're talking about, the sort of the physical social media thing, and go in there and press the flash and, make those relationships. But how do you use digital? How do you use the internet if you only want to target your local community?
If you want to target your local community.
Okay, you don't want to be marketing to people in New York if you live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
There's a couple of things. Obviously, search engine optimization is a thing where you could pick specific keywords to your local market. I'm not, there's just so many people on the internet today with so many photography websites. I'd say I only have maybe one client a year that finds me via Google search.
Really?
Really. So I still think it's important. But I do things like social media. Facebook is great. I do advertise on Facebook. And now Facebook has introduced retargeting.
What is retargeting? And
pull your mic up a little. Is like if you went on a...
William, bring your mic up a little bit.
Okay. If you had... if you were on Google searching for a hard drive to buy, and... have you ever noticed, like, the next day you go on another site and hard drives just start appearing for sale, or links to Amazon?
How did they know what I was thinking?
I don't know how it works behind the big screen. But you can do that with Facebook now. So you can tell Facebook that anybody that has visited my website in the last 30 days, please present an ad on their Facebook feed for my business.
Really?
Yes.
Say that one more time, because that's critical.
It's called retargeting.
Retargeting.
So, and you can set it up for different things. But the real cool thing is you can tell Facebook, anybody who has visited my website last 30 days, last 60 days, please start showing them an ad for my business on their Facebook feed.
Now, can you, using that, which is awesome, because you can follow them from your blog to where they hang out on Facebook, right? So if you're doing that targeting, the retargeting, can you restrict that to a zip code or a series of zip codes? So you're retargeting only people in San Francisco that have visited my page in the last month
that are female and their status is engaged. So yes, you can sort of hone in on the additional targeting.
Wow.
And then you can choose how much you want to pay.
And now you've done this.
Yes, I have.
How effective is it for you?
I think last year was my best year ever. I shot 35 weddings.
And how many of those weddings came from Facebook?
Facebook, I would say, it's hard to tell sometimes where they come from. I always ask. The problem with that information is they may see your ad on Facebook. They may see your ad at a local venue. They may see your ad. So sometimes they get confused. Usually it's the last place they saw you, they will tell you.
You're like, oh, enough already. I get it, William. I'm coming.
I know. But I would say maybe 4 or 5 weddings off of Facebook. I've booked 2 off of Instagram this year.
Off of Instagram?
Just off of Instagram.
And how did that work? I mean,
just by tagging, again, hashtags. So it's really important to hashtag the venue that you shot at, because a lot of brides, if they're going to pick a place to get married at, they'll check it out on Instagram, and if your pictures start showing up and they like them, they'll start following you and they'll get in touch with you.
So what is your, so let's segue that into Instagram, because I hear Instagram is, it's kind of big.
It's my favorite. Just talking the whole social media thing for a second. So Facebook, I pay to have that done. We talked about this before. Pinterest, I let my wife do it because she loves Pinterest, but I love Instagram, so I take care of my own Instagram account.
Nice.
And I would love to say I do it every day. I don't, but I try to. It's always.
And what are you putting up there?
I'm putting up. So I keep photos from a library I've had for years. So I'll even go back in the archives and find something that's maybe relevant to a location or an event that's going on. I'll put that up there.
Yeah.
I'll put my current work whenever I shoot somewhere for the next, maybe first week after the wedding, I'll put 3 or 4 up every day from that venue.
Yeah.
But it has to be wedding related, and I also talk on travel photography, so I put some travel stuff up there.
So your Instagram account is primarily for business. You don't do any personal shots of
I put
kids?
very little personal stuff.
Now, this is what I'm having for dinner tonight?
No, I don't shoot food, no. Sorry,
none of that stuff.
No.
So is that your advice to other photographers? If you're going to have an Instagram account, keep it business or pleasure, or is it okay to mix them, or should they have 2?
I have 2 for Facebook. I have a personal page and then a business page.
Yeah.
Instagram, I don't know. I see people that mix it. I think it's sort of cool being a little bit transparent. I'll put things up on my Instagram account that maybe are personal but somehow still relate to business.
Yeah.
So, I'm in Vegas at this convention, so, you're putting up a shot from Vegas or something.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. Maybe I'm out partying.
Because they want to see what you're doing.
Yeah, maybe I'm out partying, and it really doesn't have much to do with photography.
Right.
But it's still sort of my photographer lifestyle.
No, it's just you want to make the people that aren't here feel bad.
I want them to be here. You should have come.
You should have come to WPPI.
That's right.
That's cool. So Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest are integral parts of your business.
Yes.
What else?
Social media-wise?
Well, just digital-wise.
Digital-wise, website and blog.
Website, blog.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have both. I don't think blogging for wedding photographers is maybe quite as big as it was a couple of years ago. So my website is relatively static. Maybe 2 or 3 times a year I'll go in and add photos or take images out to keep it fresh.
Yep.
Whereas my blog is definitely current. So every wedding I photograph, I blog about. Every engagement session. So people can go to my blog and see my current work and sort of keep track of what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's transparent to show. If you're showing every wedding and every engagement session, they get to see all your body of work.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously on your website, you only want to put your best stuff up there.
Yeah, that's interesting. And one of the kind of disconnects that I see a lot are people mixing the purpose of their blog, right? And they make the mistake of talking to other photographers on their blog.
Oh.
Where, the peers. Like, hey, look at this new lens I got. Hey, look at this. Hey, I have this new technique. Hey, all this stuff. But talking photographer to photographer instead of photographer to bride.
I had a very awakening experience 4 years ago here in Las Vegas. There's an expo called, oh man, I can't remember. It's based on the wedding industry, or the wedding business. Oh, the Wedding MBA, that's what it's called. They have it every year here in Vegas. And I wasn't going to come. I used to run, aerospace businesses.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need to know business. I know business.
Right.
But I had friends that were coming, and I came. And my biggest takeaway was that photographers tend to design their blogs and websites for other photographers, not for brides.
Yes, exactly.
So I came home and I immediately changed my website.
Yeah.
And I did it with the mindset that who's going to be looking at it's going to be a bride.
Yep.
I'm not showing off my photos to other photographers.
Right.
They can come and look if they want, but I didn't design it.
But the voice that you use when you're posting is you to bride.
Always.
Or to potential bride.
I'm associated with some companies, and they're always like, oh, could you put a link to our website? Or could you push our product? And no, because my blog and website are for brides.
See, that's so smart. You're like you're an angel dancing on the head of a pin, because everyone else is blogging to other photographers. It's a popularity contest.
It confuses your clients.
Yeah, and the same thing goes for social media too, right?
Yes.
A lot of photographers on their Facebook, Twitter, whatever, it's the conversation is photographer to photographer. Like, hey, I just saw Joe McNally, or those kind of things.
Putting up pictures, taken,
right? And the bride that just got proposed to is like, Joe McWho?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. They don't
we come here to WPPI, and there's a lot of well-known photographers, and you heard the expression rock star and all. Mm-hmm. The brides don't know who they are. Maybe a couple of brides do, because they're working with the highest wedding planner in LA.
Or if they're a photographer.
Okay, but 98% of a bride does not know who is who.
Right. So what would you tell those, like, how do you do that? So again, back to that blank slate photographer.
Okay.
He's established his accounts,
yes,
or her accounts. They're online. They've got a blank Twitter feed.
Okay.
What should they be putting in their Twitter feed? What should they be putting on Facebook? What's the right thing to do?
Well, they need to start putting shoots, and if they don't have an actual book shoot, I'm sort of over the stylized shoot thing, but I think that's still a good place to start for a newbie. So go out and shoot something, and that's relative to the market that you're chasing.
Yeah.
Weddings, portraits, whatever.
Yep.
And start posting some of that stuff. And you can milk it. I mean, you could have a session, and you could post something from it today and something in 3 days. So you could take a shoot and maybe stretch it out for 2 or 3 weeks till you do something else. And then as soon as you start booking your own business, you got to be quick posting that.
And you get it up there quickly.
Yes.
So another tack, and what I hear from photographers, because I say the same, what we were just talking about before about the speaking to the bride, not to other photographers thing. Some photographers would argue that, okay, yeah, I know that my customer is the bride, of course, but I'm writing to other photographers to demonstrate that I am a leader and an authority in photography, therefore brides will see me as a leader and hire me. Any weight to that?
Yeah, I do think there's a little bit of weight to that, but I think it's got to be subtle. So like on my website, I have a featured in press, and it's just basically any blog or magazines I've been in.
Oh, nice.
So they can just go see the logo from those.
It's your horn tooting? Yeah.
Yeah, just a tiny, it's subtle, but it's like,
it's a small horn.
Oh, yeah, but like, oh, he's been published on some wedding blog, so
right,
he must be good.
Well, it's important.
So it's a little bit of selling going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is important.
So, okay, let's wrap it up. Last parting shot for the photographers that are out there taking notes. They're like, okay, I need to put some of this stuff in place. What do they do today? Like,
the most important thing we really still haven't talked about, and that is to give outstanding service to your clients.
Yeah.
So you got to be the Nordstrom of wedding photographers.
Yeah.
You don't have to charge Nordstrom prices, but I make sure that my customers have a fabulous experience when they work with me.
I love
From the beginning, I do little things like 2 months before the wedding, I send them a newlywed cookbook.
Yeah.
A week before the wedding, I send them a Starbucks card and tell them to go on a coffee date. I'm always touching. It's sort of like you got to have all these contact points along the line.
So they don't forget you, you're top of mind, and they think
always,
of you. Yeah.
Always. After the wedding, I give them a slideshow they don't know they're going to get.
Yeah.
I give them a mobile app, their own special mobile app that they can share with friends.
That's really
That's
cool.
branded and links back to my website. So when their friends see it.
Who makes the mobile app? How does that work?
I'm with Shootproof. So Shootproof has a...
Shootproof, okay.
Shootproof.
Yeah. So it sounds like you have once you book the wedding, you have a series of surprise and delight moments leading up to the wedding.
That's a great term. I like that. It's built into my workflow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It actually automatically pops up on my computer.
It says send Starbucks card.
It does.
Really?
Yes, using ShootQ. So you can build workflows into ShootQ. Otherwise, I would forget.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They should have a shoot queue for relationship management.
Yeah, I know.
Send flowers. Do something nice.
Yeah.
Take her to dinner.
That's what Siri's for.
Exactly.
Remind me in 2 weeks.
All the time. Very cool. All right, William, thank you, man, for coming in.
Thank you,
always
Frederick.
Educational. I always take away nuggets when we chat, like
Thank
I
you.
said. I called it at the beginning, didn't I?
Great, you did.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Great being here. Thanks, Frederick.
Yep. Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode of the Lumix Lounge with Mr. William Innes. You can check out his work where?
Innes Photography. Very simple.
Innes
INNES.
Photography. INnesPhotography.com. I'm Frederick Van Johnson. We'll see you in the next episode.